Hi there, this is my Rose Thorn presentation, and this is going to be going over my biggest communication accomplishment as well as my biggest communication failure. I'm going to be referring to both of these as effective communication and ineffective communication. I'm going to give one example for each, and both of them are going to have two elements that relate to the example and exemplify why it was an accomplishment or a failure. Now, for my effective communication example, I had to give a virtual presentation to a supplier and communicate to them the spacecraft part that we needed them to build in order to deliver that part to us on time and within spec. Now, ineffective communication was when I was brand new to ball and I was stressed. I had to manufacture a part quickly, and I approached one of the schedulers who was already stressed out, and that communication did not go very well because she ended up yelling at me. So in my effective communication example, one of the things I did well, which was element number one, is target my audience. Now, I came prepared with specs, drawings, conditions, and deliverables for the build that we needed. I was well organized, prepared, confident, and competent in what I was talking about. I had an agenda, drawings, and I highlighted all the important items that I wanted to make sure that they noticed in the presentation in order to have an effective meeting. And we did. The meeting was very clear and concise, and it was a very effective meeting. Now, element number two that made it go well was trust and warmth. And it's very important for us at Ball to make sure that we have a good relationship with this supplier because they do good work for us. And a good relationship with them is important because they're our number one supplier for this component. Now, the way I kind of portrayed that over a virtual environment was by smiling, keeping a positive attitude, and turning on my camera so they could see it. I also presented to them at 3 p.m., which was near the end of the day, but there was less distractions. And so they were able to ask questions without really being pressed for time with where they needed to be after work. So all in all, the message sent was received, and it was a very successful meeting and very efficient. Now, my failed attempt was when I was stressed because I had a part that I needed to get manufactured quickly. I had to go down to scheduling, which was where my coworker was, and I failed to notice that she was stressed. She had her head down and she was tapping her foot. And because I was stressed and I missed these signals, I still asked for my favor. And she blew up on me, yelled at me, and told me to leave her office. Now, there are two elements that I could have done to make this reaction go over a little bit better. Number one, I failed to identify her triggers. By not making eye contact with me and tapping her foot, she was portraying to me with her nonverbals that she was feeling a lot of anxiety and stress. Now, I also lacked context in that her department was short-staffed. So if I had more self-awareness and more awareness of the context of which she was in, I would have been able to recognize that these are real triggers that I probably should have been more patient in my approach in talking with her. And I should have spoke to her with more empathy and compassion. Now, my second element that really would have helped my communication go over better was my ability to self-regulate. I approached her while I was still stressed, and I came off as selfish, and I came off as imposing, and it contributed to her stress, and her brain perceived me as a threat, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore, which she had an emotional outburst and told me to leave. So what I could have done is self-regulate myself a little bit better before speaking with her and having a little bit more emotional intelligence in that sense. So key takeaways are observe others and observe their nonverbals. They tell you a lot before you speak with a person. And then self-regulate. If you're feeling stressed before talking to somebody, make sure you calm down so you can effectively deliver your message to that person, even if they're feeling stressed. Now, on the positive note, always be prepared and be as rehearsed as you possibly can, because that allows your message to be carried across a lot more clear. keep their overall context of your audience in mind, because that will determine how they will receive your message, and try to maintain a positive attitude. It makes it easier to listen to, and your message can come across better. So that's my presentation. Thank you.